To begin hour number 3 with the Hall of Famer, Jim Kelly, joining us now. Jim, how you doing, guy?
Back. Thanks for asking. You guys?
Yeah, we're doing all right. We're
good.
hanging in there, man. It's everybody's just trying to stay safe these days, as you well know. But we wanted to begin, Jim, with this cool idea you guys came up with, the virtual tailgate. Tell us about it.
Well, the reason it came up, as pretty much everybody understands, when the COVID hit, the amount of money we raised through my golf classic we have every year, Tasha's been probably a part of it for probably 30 or 34 years, which is pretty cool. We give over hundreds of thousands of dollars out to local charities and Hunter Soap, and we weren't able to do that this year, and it just was sad to be able to know that there's so many charities, not just ours, but other ones out there are trying to think of ways to raise money. And we came up with the virtual tailgate. Even though it's not before a Bills game, we figured, you know what, let's do one anyways. And we're giving away some unbelievable prizes. I mean, Josh Allen and myself autographed one of the game balls, the real NFL balls. We're giving away jerseys and things like that. So it's something I've been looking forward to. And I know, just real quick, we have some pretty good people coming on. From Steve is definitely one of them. We have Thurman coming on. We have Eric Wood. You know, I had to have a center on since my boy Ken Hall is in heaven now. And Jake Owen, country singer, very popular. A lot of number ones out there. And, of course, Shooter McGavin, Chris McDonald, as everybody knows, is Shooter, is also going to be on. He's a big Buffalo Bill backer. He's been a Bills fan for many years. But this is Thursday from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. So just urge everybody to log on to huntersoap.org, find out how you can be a big part of this virtual tailgate.
Did it surprise you that I guess it did, and I know the answer, but what'd you feel about the Bills Mafia coming to Josh Allen's side and donating a couple of $100,000 in memory of his grandmother for Oshai Children's Hospital? You've been witness to this for 3 decades now, how Bills fans do this kind of stuff. How's it make you feel now that you and I are old, how does it make you feel that they're still doing it?
You know, it's awesome. I mean, that's one of the reasons I know you and me and Thurman still live in Buffalo, because of the people, because of the fans. They've been here from start to finish. And it's just when I saw Josh did that, and of course I text them and, chat back and forth by text messages. And you know what, he's taken over the part of making sure the people out there less fortunate, the kids that, that maybe their days are numbered, but a lot of kids come in, go out. I know firsthand, Hunter spent many, many days and weeks at Children's Hospital, and I understand how important that is. But the Bills Mafia has come through again, and I know Josh is a big part of that. And we prayed, for him, because I know when you lose your grandparents, that's tough. So just thumbs up for Bills Mafia for coming to the rescue again.
And there goes Josh out on the field Sunday, Jim. I mean, unbeknownst to us, none of us knew his situation at the time. But you want to talk about an inspiring performance. And, we've seen that before. I mean, Brett Favre lost his dad, played 2 nights later on a Monday night and lit up the Raiders for 5 touchdowns. You have to believe he was somewhat inspired to kind of go play for his grandmother on Sunday.
Oh, without a doubt. And I know that that Coach McDermott gave him that option. Whether, I can understand if you don't want to go tonight, you can't be focused, totally on a game. But I know that's what he did. He played for his grandmother. And it's something that when you lose a loved one, even though it is in the back of your mind, you might think, you know what, they want me to go do this. And I'm going to do this and for my mother, my dad, or one of my grandparents. And he did. He lit it up. He seemed like he was playing for her from start to finish, and it was great to see, especially against a team like Seattle. And I thought it was going to be a lot closer ball game than it was. But, the defense showed up, and Josh Allen showed up big time, which is great to see.
Yeah, we're talking with Jim Kelly, Hall of Fame quarterback. What does it tell you? We had this conversation a little bit earlier in the show, Jim. 2 weeks ago, the Bills were part of the most run-slanted game in in regular season this year between the Bills and the Patriots. It was the most run-happy game of the season. The Bills won it. The next week, 2 days ago, they were part of the most pass-happy game in the NFL regular season, and they won that one too. How cool is that?
What I think it did is surprise Seattle's coaches. I think that the Bills
right.
were going to try to run the football. They never imagined that somebody would try to attack them through the air almost the whole time. But Brian Dable did his research and knew that their defensive back could not stand or could not cover our receivers. And what a great game plan. My hat goes off to Coach Dable and, of course, Ken Dorsey on the offensive side did such a great job coming up with that game plan. But when you got a Josh Allen, you might as well utilize his talent, and that's what they did.
Jim, I'm telling you, you would have had a field day out there, because I know on TV you can't see this as well, but, I mean, Steve and I are in the stadium on Sunday. I don't remember a time where I saw more green grass around receivers across the board. You didn't even need to have a progression on Sunday. It was amazing how much these guys had green grass around them. I mean, whether it was you or Josh, you could have thrown for 500 if you wanted in this game. I mean, I've never seen a defense play this way in my life. I couldn't believe it.
Quarterbacks love cushion, and that's exactly what they were giving. It's almost like they were so worried about getting beat deep that they gave you everything underneath. And my old cliche, the word I always say is take what they give you. I mean, if they're going to give you that 4 or 5 yard pass and let the receivers do the rest of the work, that's what it's all about. And I said, and as Steve well knows this, when we ran the 91 switch and 91 double, all those things in our lingo, Steve, when they gave you these things, all of a sudden those linebackers started coming up a little bit closer. And now all of a sudden the square ends would start happening. When those corners kept giving you so much cushion, you started taking everything underneath. And then you realized, maybe I do need to come a little closer. And that's when you burn them deep. So they did a great job with the game plan. And it just seems like they were just okay, we'll give you everything underneath, but we're not going to give you the big play. But all of a sudden, those red areas didn't turn into field goals. Those red area plays turned into touchdowns.
Yeah, and one of the other things about this that happens, and maybe you can speak to this as well, the Bills have come out this year. It's been their trait that they start games fast. They jumped out 17-0 on the Seahawks this last weekend, but then after halftime they come out and they've really struggled early in the second half of games, and it's been consistent. What are your thoughts on teams that do that? What do you think causes that? Why do you think some teams struggle with phases in their season where they'll struggle early in the second half of games?
I know sometimes teams just get too conservative. They start thinking, we got a 17-point lead. We'll rely on our defense to slow them down, continue to slow them down, and we'll just go about the game plan to a certain point. I'm still in that frame of mind when we do take a big lead that I'm worried that teams are still going to come back. That's still in the back of my mind. I haven't got to the point where I feel comfortable when we're leading a football game that we're going to keep that lead throughout the game. But I also have that confidence in if we are behind, that we have number 17 behind center, that you never have that feeling of giving up or we're going to give up. Almost reminds me of back when I played and having guys like Andre, Thurman, James, and you on special teams in our defense, that when we got down to any games, I was confident that my offensive line was going to give me time to throw, that we were going to come back. And as long as everybody on your side of the football has that confidence that you can come back, that things are going to work out, that's half the battle. I mean, when you start thinking, oh, no, we're going to lose this. No, it's a mental approach that you need to have as a professional athlete so you get accustomed to knowing that you can come back at any time and not that feeling that, oh, we just blew it. So they've been doing a good job, and I'm not quite there yet. When we have a big lead, we're going to keep it, a blowout. But I'm getting that confidence back.
We're talking to Hall of Famer Jim Kelly. He's got the virtual tailgate coming up this Thursday. Go to huntershope.org for information on how you can be a part of it. And, Jim, we're asking the fans today. I mean, there's a lot to like about Josh Allen. We're not going to make any mistake about that. But we're asking people what they feel is the best part of Josh Allen's game so far this season. We've given them choices. We said his rare physical ability, his competitive fire, his leadership, or something else? Now, they're all good qualities, but what do you like the most about that package?
I love the competitiveness. It just seems like he's willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done, whether it's running with the football, whether it's throwing those deep balls that you need to complete. And I've seen the leadership come from him from the first day I watched him out on the practice field a couple of years ago when something would happen, wasn't quite what he was thinking the receiver was going to do. He would talk to him when they came back to the huddle. That was the first thing I saw. Was his mind was into making sure that they were both on the same page. And when you have a Stephon Diggs coming in like this year, and you don't have all that practice time to really gel, they've done a very good job of doing it. So I like his competitiveness to be the best and want to be the best.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And that's what's leading the poll right now too. People want to see a guy play like they saw in a lot of what you did. They want to see a guy that cares a lot, and in fact cares so much he's willing to take a back seat to another great player in a game plan, and to be unselfish the way Josh Allen has done, the way Devin Singletary, Stephon Diggs, all these guys. They have made it clear that they're willing to
put the team first.
Put the team first.
Yeah,
and it's paid dividends.
It's it almost reminds me to a certain point, and unfortunately I have to bring up this name again, but Tom Brady, as you well know, he won so many games for them, and they never were out when he was the quarterback. And I don't even know if he ever was the highest paid quarterback in the league. He was always like fifth or sixth. He would take that contract, which he could have asked for a lot more money, but he didn't. And this is almost like you look at Brown, receiver, all of a sudden you see a Stephon Diggs coming in, and you're like, okay, I went from number one now to number two. But they've all rallied around that thing that it's about all of us. We need to all come together. We need to play together as a team. I think that brings back our days, Steve, when we knew, me, Thurman, Bruce, Darryl, you, Kent, all of us knew that we were going nowhere unless we played together. And I think that's what this team is doing, from Moss and Singletary in the backfield. And I think Singletary is unbelievable. And for them not to complain about being in or more, they're gelling together as a team offensively. And it's just something, me as a quarterback, I love to see and I love to watch.
Now, they've got the Cardinals this week, Jim, and I know they're not on TV a lot around these parts, but Kyler Murray is kind of taking the NFC by storm, and he is a different-looking quarterback. I mean, back in your day, that guy wouldn't even get half a chance to play in this league at 5'8.5", but he's got a rocket arm, and he is fast. I mean, he's in the top 10 in rushing in the league right now, and that's counting running backs and everybody. That kind of talent, what does that pose to this defense this week? Because you're going to be grasping at air if you're lunging at this guy.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about when we played Seattle, is even though Russell Wilson doesn't run as much as he can. I don't know about Kyler Murray having a rocket arm. He has a very good arm, but those motor skills that he has running the football, I knew from the first time I watched him in college how he was able to run around. And we just have to make sure that we contain him, because they'll make their big plays not only by his legs, but he'll make his big plays by his throws once he gets outside the pocket. He is, to a certain point, he does a pretty good job as a pocket passer, but that's not really his mojo. I think more than anything, he can make things happen on the run-pass option, and for most defenses, that's I better not say the word, but it's going to be a part the Bills are going to have to pay special attention to, because he can be the difference between winning and losing. That's what he's done so far this year.
Yeah, and then also going out, the Bills have, a pretty rough schedule coming up. I mean, this is a they got to go to Arizona. They've got the Chargers, the Niners, and the Steelers all back to back. This second half of the schedule looks pretty formidable. What kind of harken back to when you played and when we had a tough stretch of games or whatever? What's your mindset have to be, and what does this Buffalo Bills mindset have to be going forward with this game in Arizona, then a bye week, and then you got a real gauntlet in the last 6 games of the year?
You know what? Sometimes you might think that's good for you, because there's not ever any letdown. You don't feel like you're going okay, we're playing a tough team. We're playing the Kansas City Chiefs this week, but next week we got the New York Jets, and the following week we have another team. And then the following week we have a really tough one. Now, when you play each and every week, you're playing a tough team. Your motivation, your mind, your thought of what's running through your mind is, I got to focus each and every day on what we're doing for practice. You move from game to game, that you never have that letdown, that you don't have to worry, maybe I don't study as much film. This is going to be an easy game. No, this is week by week, day by day, and you just got to battle it out each and every one. But you also have to make sure everybody is thinking the same way. And I think this might be good for us, and but we'll find out.
Jim, I know that you guys as a team finally embraced who you felt you could be at your best when you went full no huddle. Starting in what was that, 88, 89, 90, somewhere in there.
89, yeah.
Yeah, you went full blown no huddle all the time. I realized that some of the game plan last week and who they were playing was probably a part of why they threw it so much last week against the Seahawks. 23 throws, 3 runs in the first half. I mean, that's as lopsided as it gets. But do you feel to some degree that this offense kind of embraced what they are in that game against Seattle?
Yeah, I think to a certain point. I think that one of the things the Bills have done a pretty good job of this year is really knowing who they're playing against. Know that if they're playing against a team, the defensive lineman's not that great as far as stop and run, they'll try to run a little bit more. I think they do a very good job of game planning for that. This week, I do not know Arizona's defense that well, but knowing that their offense scores points, that we might have to do a little bit of both. But I think when you see an offense do what we did last year against a very good Seattle Seahawks team, not a great defense, but they were able to see where their misfortunes are and see where their big bread and butter plays are at. And they went through a good rhythm of plays. I just know when I was quarterback, I called almost all the plays, and I knew what we had behind me. I knew the offensive line we had in front of us, that we could do whatever we wanted. It's just a matter of everybody taking care of their own assignments. And I'm sure that's what the Bills are doing right now, understanding offensively this week, we're going to have to be error-free. We're not going to have be able to give a team like Arizona good field position 3 or 4 times during the course of this ball game, because they will score a touchdown. So we got to do the end zone march and not the field goal march.
All right, Jim, before we let you go, give us one more reminder of the event on Thursday and what it's all about.
Well, it's a virtual tailgate for Hunter's Hope. It really is, for all the leukodystrophy kids out there across this country. It helps everybody, especially right here in Western New York. Bottom line is, Steve, I think a lot of families know this, especially people that are going through, having babies now, that each and every state is different on how many diseases they test for. And what we're trying to do is get what my son had when he was diagnosed with Krabbe leukodystrophy, have all these kids have a chance in life. My son, knowing that when we started our foundation, nothing would help my son, but it would help future kids. And that's what we're doing right now, trying to make as much money as we can to help these families, especially here in Western New York, but throughout the country. Give these kids a chance to dream like you and me were able to do, Steve. And that's something that I'm totally committed to, and hopefully we will be able to continue to make a difference for kids.
Thursday, November 11th. That's this coming, or Thursday,
12th.
November 12th. Sorry, this coming Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Go to huntershope.org to get more information on how you can be a part of the event. With all the people you see pictured on your screen, if you're watching on MSG, Thurman, as Jim mentioned, Steve will be a part of it. Eric Wood, Chris Berman, and a whole bunch of other people will be part of the fundraising effort. So get online and be a part of it. Jim, thanks for the time. As always, good luck with the event on Thursday.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And Steve, we'll talk to everybody.